Just checking out a new call from Spring Fever this year. It's just a slate call on one side and a glass on the other. It's a wooden call. You got glass on this side. You got slate on this side. So you got kind of two calls in one, but it really sounds good. I'm looking forward to using it this coming spring. I hope you can hear me. I don't have my mic with me, so I'm hoping this audio turns out pretty good. Hopefully. But I'm trying to get these videos uploaded at least a couple a week for the next few weeks because of my schedule, and I don't know how many that I'll get the tape when I'm on the road and stuff. So, but I want to talk in this video about the different phases that you're going to have this coming spring, whether you're a new turkey hunter or whether you've been doing this for years. The different phases that you have during a spring, because one of the questions that I get asked so much around the last part of April or middle part of April is what happened to the turkeys. You know, the turkeys ain't gobbling like they were. Did I spook them? Did I run them off? Just a lot of questions I get. So I'm going to try in this video to break down, I think, the four phases. Now this isn't the this isn't the Bible about it. This is just what I think. This is my opinion, but I think it's a pretty good opinion because a lot of you go through the same thing every single year. So there's about four phases that I break it down for in about a 2-month season. Now this is depending on where you're hunting at, what region you're hunting, whether you can hunt in March, whether you can hunt in middle of April. Whether you hunt 1st of May up north. I mean, a lot of this goes in to where you're hunting at. But let's say that you're hunting the first part of April, the last part of March, all the way till May. All right, maybe you travel like I do, or maybe you just have a long turkey season somewhere like Kansas or somewhere. So I'm going to break this down and kind of explain what I think happens during the spring of the year and kind of what I expect, and I'm never disappointed because it usually happens every single year. Phase number one, a spring gobbler, whether you're hunting the early season, late season, first week of season, the last week of season, he's still a very hard animal to get on the ground, and that's why we love to hunt them, right? Because it's a challenge. But I do think of all the four phases, this one is probably the most simple to kill a turkey. So if you have someone that's never killed a turkey, maybe a young person, or maybe someone that's just getting introduced to the sport, this is the time that you really want to get them out there because it's pretty, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it does get easier, I should say, to at least get one on the ground pretty early. And this is the phase where the gobblers are still kind of in that winter flocked up mode. They're still kind of together. They've not broken away yet to get with the hens. They're not totally fighting and trying to kill each other. So it's pretty easy to see more than one gobbler in a group, and then the gobbling is just insane. I mean, they just gobble and gobble and gobble because they've been ready all winter long, all fall long. They've been ready to get out and do this again. So when that cycle comes back around, they are ready to just let every hen know from here to yonder that, hey, I'm over here and I'm available. Let's party, right? So it's not uncommon to hear 4 and 5 gobblers in one group just gobbling back at you. And boy, when it gets like that, it's really easy to get out of bed. It really is easy because, one, you're excited about turkey season finally being here, and two, the gobbling is just so good that, boy, when that alarm clock goes off, you're just ready to bail out and let's go. Because you're going to have a pretty good morning, at least here in turkey. As far as the strategies that I use, pretty much anything goes. You just get out there and call, and if you sound at least halfway decent, you're probably going to get some kind of response from a turkey. And just trying to learn how to work him. You can make a few mistakes even. And I'm not saying get out there and just go crazy and make mistakes, but you can even make some mistakes and might get away with it because, man, they're just so ready that they're just going to come on in. I've heard some people that's bad callers actually call turkeys in this first phase. So, I kind of take this phase around toward the last part of March all the way to about the 10th of April. Right around that 2-week period, man, it just gets great. So it's a great time to be in the woods. Number two, this is when most turkey seasons open up all across the country. I would say from about the 13th, 14th of April all the way till about the 22nd or 23rd of April. I call this phase 2, to where now they're with the hens. But now, depending on where you're at, again, a lot of this depends on the region you're hunting, but what I've seen is that most of the time in this phase, even though they're with the hens, they're still ready to get a harem of hens together. They're still wanting to get more. So it's not uncommon to call a gobbler away from 1 or 2 hens he's got, because he's not totally bunched up with a bunch of them at this point. So he may have 1 or 2 after he breeds them. I have called them away from that one they've just breeded and seen them come all the way into me and kill him. So it's not very uncommon to really have some really good luck of calling gobblers away from hens in this time. So I like that. I like that part of the season myself. Now, as far as the strategies I use, yeah, I'm gonna really start trying to get tight with them turkeys. Whereas a couple of weeks before, I may not have tried to get super tight to them. I just try to call them to me. Now I'm going to push it. I'm going to get a little bit tighter to them. I'm going to try to find out where they're roosting. I'm going to try to get as close as I can in the dark. I'm going to try to get inside of his bubble. I'm going to try my best to have that distance closed when he hits the ground. But like I said, it's not uncommon to find a turkey up in the middle part of the day, 10, 11 o'clock, that maybe has 1 or 2 hens with him, but he's had them all morning, and you can actually call him away from them hens and kill him. Or he just may be by himself, or maybe they were bachelored up the first part of the phase 1. Phase 2, that bigger gobblers run them other gobblers off, so them other gobblers are without hens, so you can call them in and kill them. So it's a great time to be hunting right in that second phase also. Now the third phase is really a tough one. To me, this is the toughest of all of them. And every single year, in 9 years of video and publishing videos, it never fails that I get this question. And it's always in this, what I call phase 3. Always. From about the 24th of April all the way till about the 3rd, 4th of May, it just seems like I get flooded with people saying, what's wrong with the turkeys? Where did the turkeys go? I ain't heard nothing. They just shut up gobbling. I'm hearing 1 or 2 on the roost. They hit the ground, it's over. It's just terrible. We're having terrible luck. So what happens? Well, now they've got haremed up with a bunch of hens. They've got a bunch of them around them now, because they're right in the peak of it, man. So whereas in phase 2 they had maybe 1 or 2 or 3 hens, now they've got 6 or 7 of them, and so they don't have to gobble, and they don't have to go. They can just spend all day with the same 7 or 8 hens and pretty much do their thing, and they don't have to gobble. They don't do nothing. So everything just seems like it just dies. It just totally just gets rough. And man, it can be really, really tough to kill these turkeys in that stage. It's almost like a whitetail right in the middle of the rut. All the big bucks just locked down with them. You don't see a lot of big bucks. Whereas, say the 1st of November, you had a lot of bucks on your trail cameras, and you were seeing bucks on their feet. Now everything's just disappeared. Well, it's kind of the way it is in turkey season, and so I think it really can get tough, but you can still be successful. And I think if you kill a turkey in this phase, from about the last part of April to the first part of May, if you can kill a turkey in that week or 2, boy, you've really stepped it up as a turkey hunter. Now, as far as the tactics that I use for that particular phase, this is where I really, really depend on scouting. This is where I really depend on historically where the turkeys have been in the past, where they're feeding, where they're wanting to spend their time, where the hens want to spend their time. And this is where you start really trying to hunt the hens more than you're hunting the gobbler. And you're not calling as loud. 2 or 3 weeks ago, boy, you was just rocking the woods with your calls, and they were gobbling back at you. Now you got to quieten everything down. Now everything just calms down a little bit. You've got to really focus on, that soft calling, purrs and clucks, and, that contentment call, the feeding calls. And yeah, pretty much just hen hunting. You know, it's pretty much what you're doing. You're just hen hunting and trying to find them gobblers with them hens. Because I guarantee you, in this phase right here, it's just about 80% of the turkeys that you either hear gobbling, maybe gobbles 1 or 2, 3, 4 times, or maybe you see him out in the field, he's going to have hens with him. Now, that's not 100% because there has been times in this phase where you will find a gobbler up in the day by itself, whether he's been run off by a bigger gobbler, or, you know, you got to remember something. You ain't the only one out there hunting these turkeys. You're not the only one out there trying to, you know, to bag a turkey. So they've got to deal with other hunters from other properties. You know, even if you're the only hunter on your property, or maybe if it's on public land, of course, you got other hunters to deal with, but especially like on like private land, them turkeys ain't going to just stay on your property. They're going to go over on Farmer Jones and Farmer Fred, and, you know, so other hunters on their land probably have spooked them, and coyotes, you know, bobcats. There's a lot of things out there that spooks turkeys up in the daytime, and they could, you know, maybe a gobbler could fly, you know, fly on the other ridge. He sees something, danger, flies over on the other ridge away from his hens, and, you know, they scatter. Well, if you're lucky enough to find that gobbler that's been busted away from his hens, yeah, then he's by himself, and you might call him in. So you still want to be out there every day possible, because you never know when you might find that lonely gobbler up in the daytime. But this is a very tough phase to hunt. It really is. I mean, I almost want to pull my hair out at times, you know, because it was so good 2 or 3 weeks before that. Now it's just really tough. Phase 4 is probably my favorite. Very close, number 1. You know, I probably enjoy the early spring the best because of the gobbling, and, you know, everything's just kind of new, and your turkey seasons is just open, so your blood's going. But phase 4 is really where I have killed some really big turkeys. In fact, this whole room that you see in these cakes behind me, I mean, this room right here is a good indication that a lot of these turkeys that you see on my wall has come in different some of these different phases. You know, some of them's been killed early, some of them's been killed late. You know, old Sly right here, he was killed he was killed in phase 4, I would say, you know, what I call phase 4. He was killed, you know, right about the 17th of May. And so this is toward the end of seasons, okay? This is when most seasons are getting close. And now you've got a whole different situation. You've got gobblers that are pushed off early because the hens are going to nest. The hens are really laying on their eggs now because they have to. You know, it's just in their instinct and DNA. They're going to nest. They got to nest for them eggs to hatch, and they got to protect them from predators. So the hens fly down. They may get with the gobbler, you know, a couple of hours, and then she's going to go off the nest, and the gobbler's going to be by itself. Now that 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock hunting really gets great, and the gobbling picks way back up. You know, just like it picked up a month prior in the first part, you know, 1st of April, last part of March, now it starts over again. Now, with that said, the only difference I do is I don't go rocking the woods with calls like I did, say, the first part of April. Even though the gobbling's picked way up, I still want to call kind of soft. I don't want to get really super vocal. I don't want to get super loud. You know, I want to try to keep everything toned down as much as I can, because you got to remember, they've been hunted hard for a month. They've been pushed. They've been pressured. So I try to still get in as close as I can into their bubble and, you know, where he wants to be. But I'll try to tone everything down and try to just work him the best I can with purrs and clucks. But I'll still yelp, and I'll still, you know, hey, if he gets excited and he gets pumped up, I'll let the turkey tell me what he wants. So again, this isn't a 100% guarantee. I'm just telling you little things that I do over and over every year, but you may have to adjust them. Every year is different, so you may have to fine-tune things a little bit with each spring. So phase 4 is really, I mean, everything just picks back up, and man, you can really kill some good turkeys. And usually the turkeys that die in May, you know, boy, they got some big old hooks on them. Usually they're usually the big 3-4-year-old turkeys that's by themselves, and they're coming in. And I've killed some of my biggest gobblers. I've killed some of my biggest turkeys, you know, May the from May probably the 9th, 8th, all the way till about the 20th of May. Well, right there in that time frame, them 10 days, I've killed some monster turkeys. And so you just kind of have to adjust it. But you're going to deal with them 4 phases, I guarantee you. You're going to deal with them this coming spring. So don't get discouraged. Whatever phase you're in, the turkeys are there. They haven't went nowhere. It's just the cycle they're going through. But you've got to adapt as a hunter, and you've got to just change things every couple of weeks. You got to change things, but you can be successful killing turkeys in all 4 phases, and hopefully that'll help you and put this back in your memory bank and be successful this coming spring. Hey, if you haven't joined my Facebook, please go over and join my Facebook. Just click on the link down in the description. Like and follow my page. Also check out the website, DellOutdoors.com, and check out some of the things I've got there. Appreciate all of you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, take a few moments and subscribe to this channel. Just click in that little box in the corner. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless you. I hope you have a great turkey season.